All right, so I'm here to briefly describe Dirgha Pranayama. So you've probably heard this term thrown around at the beginning or in the middle or at the end of class. Dirgha Pranayama essentially translates to full yogic breath. It's also called our three-part breath. And it's breathed in such a way that you breathe, quote unquote, into your belly, your ribs, and your chest. Now, we know that the receptacle of air is mostly your lungs, which reside in like your upper cavity and a little bit on the backside of your body. But what muscle we're working with Dirgha Pranayama is your diaphragm or your respiratory diaphragm. And so what we're trying to do in Dirgha Pranayama is get a full range of motion for your respiratory diaphragm, that when you inhale, your diaphragm releases down towards your pelvic floor and creates a little bit of vacuum that kind of pulls air into your lungs. And then when you exhale, your diaphragm contracts back up and then presses all of the air out. So a few things energetically about Dirgha Pranayama. It is often considered to be a calming breath or a grounding breath or even a little bit of a channeling breath. So one reason why we use it is primarily to draw your attention toward your breath and to help get you in the mode for the practice and for the standing asanas that are coming. But we're also trying to create a little bit more of an even energetic state. So the big thing that I often see with students, I'm going to turn a little bit to my side, when I ask them to engage in Dirgha Pranayama, I still just see a lot of chest breathing, or a lot of the breath and kind of range of motion is just up here. Ideally, for the first part of your breath, maybe like the first half-ish of your breath, you want to breathe in such a way that as your diaphragm descends down towards your pelvic floor, you'll see your abdominal cavity expand. So if you softly interlace your fingers when you inhale into your belly, you should see your fingers expand, and when you exhale, you should see your fingers come back in. So you do want to see a little bit of range of motion. For your ribs, you can primarily notice or breathe into your ribs by, you can kind of maybe watch my elbows if I take a deep breath into my ribs. And then back out. And then up into the top of the chest. Sometimes I'll make my things like or my hands here like a little chicken wing, and I'll breathe up into my chest. And so ideally in Dirgha Pranayama, you're putting all three of those pieces together, taking a deep breath into your belly, trying to fill up, then just adding breath into the ribs, expanding, and then adding breath into the very top of your chest. And that is Dirgha Pranayama.